Chat.
Wow. Hey, they chat. So they chat.
And then mute.
Yeah, I gotta mute the YouTube as soon as it pops up. Refresh. Fresh page. There we go.
There's some way you can minimize the chat or something, and I can bring it into. I forget what I gotta do. Maybe you separate it. That's what you do. You separate it.
Yeah, you want to separate. You want to pop out.
Yeah. Is there an actual pop-out link, or you just simply separate it, just drag?
It separates it in a different window, and you can drag it. I split my screen between two windows, and then I have another window over here. The awesomeness of dual screen.
Yeah. I only have room for one in my setup.
Of course, he'd be mixing a drink right at his table with the mic on. What do you make?
What up, nerd? What up,
Hello?
nerd? Nerd!
Who is this?
It's Gordon.
I'm sorry, where am I?
Exactly. Stay on target.
Oh,
Stay on topic.
No shit.
oh, I was just sitting here, getting ready to enjoy a nice drink for the evening.
Now I know why he wanted us to be live, so he could do this on the.
He wanted to do the
this
bit.
recorded. Yeah.
He wanted
What?
a bit.
Shut up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up. Yes, you do.
No one. I don't even think anyone. Oh, it's 3 people.
I am the
watching now.
master of bits. Don't tell me a bit when I don't see a bit. I see a bit.
Yeah, talk.
Okay,
Yeah,
so maybe.
definite bit.
How's it going?
How you doing?
Getting better.
Better.
From
Was
what?
it? Was
Because you're about to drink, or yeah?
It's absolutely.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, life's getting better too. I mean,
That's good.
went through some hell and everything's getting. If I could untangle my freaking mouse, maybe. Okay, I think we're good. Let's fix this. Got to correct everything from the bit, right? Yeah.
Wipe the margarita juice off of the.
So what did you make there?
It's a margarita. I got my good friend Jose and some nice margarita mix that my wife's friend bought me.
Nice.
And
I'm still going through my Terrapin the variety pack. I think I've already shown some before. The Hopsecutioner.
This may come as a shock, but I'm having bourbon.
Nice.
Oh man, aren't you sad about what happened?
No, because it wasn't a distillery I give two shits about. Like, because the first thing is like, wait, was it any of the good stuff? No? Okay.
Sad.
If you told me it was Buffalo Trace or Heaven Hill or gosh, Old Forester, then I'd be concerned.
Hey, people are here. Hi, people.
So how ungodly loud was that blender?
It wasn't.
It wasn't too bad actually. It was like a hum.
Finish that and then make another. Let's find out. Go power that.
But Chico, don't you have to prepare yourself for the weekend? Or is it
Sweet
next weekend?
Jesus.
I forget.
No, it's this weekend.
I know I unfortunately can't make it, but it sounds amazing.
Gordon, are you going to drive up here?
I'm
having a party at my house. We're going to just get hammered all weekend.
First I heard of it. What is it? Next weekend or this weekend?
This weekend. Like 2-3 days. Yeah, I am a couple of years ago, we had this big beer festival in Fort Wayne where you just go and try random beers, and we all had Gen Con on that day. So instead of doing that, we did Gen Con instead of drinking a lot of beer. So instead, we picked a weekend and we said, everybody's coming over to my house and you have to bring a 6-pack with at least 3 different types of beer. And we just go crazy trying random beers and just having a good old time. So that is this weekend. We're doing the third annual one.
So who is it that is going to attend? Anyone we know?
A whole bunch of my fraternity brothers. Luke will be there. I don't know if any other X-Wing people will be there. My hockey team will be there. Not my ultimate frisbee team because most of them are under 21. Holy shit, I felt old this season. But
all right, so tell us the funniest dad moment Luke has shared with you so far.
Nope.
As in, you can't tell, or he hasn't had one yet.
What I want to
know. Evidently, his kid is a very animated sleeper, so that's the funniest thing I've heard so far. Like, sleeps really well, but the whole time is like, So, don't know what's going on in that tiny little brain, but
he'll be an actor.
Something like that. Yeah, all is doing well with the family and whatnot. So I don't know if he's been back to streaming Paintcast. I haven't talked to him about that. I know he was planning on doing something on Friday. I'm going to go over to his place and we're going to do like a Smash Brothers tournament or something. So I don't really know what's going on.
I think his plan was just to get a free computer and then just say, I'm out.
Fair. Brilliant. I mean, that's what I did with this microphone, right?
Exactly. See, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get Coach to send me one, and then, like, hey, I'd love to help you host, but can't.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm so busy.
Yeah. Get microphone, never come back on OCX, and then have Stay on Target episodes by the dozen.
Oh my God, where they just sound so much better.
Sure.
Because I can now sound okay not being face to face because we have good mics as opposed to having to meet in person. Yes, this is a good plan.
If I can get him to send you one, but he also sends you a webcam and you're required to use the webcam, otherwise you don't get the mic.
It's not that I have a problem with that. It's my wife would have me murdered. So we'll see. There may be. It's like if I say, look, if I turn on the webcam and you go hide, can I have like the basement for the next couple hours or something like that? Then maybe we can make that happen.
So I did this week. I painted Boba Fett. Is that coming across?
The Boba Fett. Wait. I have powers. Present to everyone.
Oh, wow.
There, focus.
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Nice.
Boba Fett.
Where?
I'm happy with him.
Is that Imperial Assault or Legion?
Yeah, Imperial Assault.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that.
Cool.
The dead game?
Yeah.
Hey, I can still play the campaign over and over and over.
This is the one redeeming quality of
right?
that game.
There's a ton just in the main box alone, and then you got all the expansions, and then with the app, it's even bonkers. So
yeah, and it's funny because like with Imperial Assault, I was a playtester for Skirmish, and since
I
it
blame
released,
you.
I never played Skirmish again.
I blame you because they fixed a couple characters by just simply publishing new cards, and it was easy, and they haven't done it for any of the other figures, like Boba Fett. Everyone keeps screaming for Boba Fett to get fixed like Han Solo and Chewbacca did and Vader did, and they won't do it.
Didn't they just FAQ that game too? So it kind of like messed with the Spectre cell.
Yeah, Spectre Cell had ruined the meta because that was the meta, and it effectively killed the game because that's all. If you wanted to win, that's what you brought.
Now, how many of these guys are just as broken in the campaign? So like you need to get the errata and the changed cards, because like I did that for the saboteurs and the Royal Guards,
Imperial officers as well.
Okay, yeah.
They'll do for more than Skirmish. They will also make adjustments to the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But when they finally nerfed Spectre Cell, and it was a good nerf. It made sense. It was appropriately powerful. Still a good list. But if you're going to win with it, it's because you're God's gift to Imperial Assault, not because the list is super broken anymore. And everyone of note that I read in the forums or on Facebook said, or gosh, even the Slack channel, the popular one, everybody said, don't care anymore, too late.
Mm-hmm.
We've been complaining about this for over half a year, and you should have fixed it then.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, because I could play up at Gen Con, and I just don't want to. Just don't care.
Armada seems a bit late on the whole getting on the Clone Wars bandwagon. It seems really sweet to do, but then I already bought into the game all when X-Wing.
Have they
second edition
revealed
came
what
out.
it's going to be?
No, but they did. What they said at Adepticon, they're like, "Yeah, Armada's getting Clone Wars," and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm
that's
assuming
one
at
of
Gen
those
Con,
that it's- yeah,
Have you ever
at
played?
Gen Con, we'll actually see stuff.
You ever played, Ryan?
Yeah, I played.
I tried it once, and I hated it.
I played
It was
one
alright.
game and I really enjoyed it, and I'd still like to play more, but time.
The
you know?
problem takes like 2 or 3 X-Wing games.
Right.
So like, it's like six. It's your standard thing. It's like 6 turns only. You go back and forth.
The secret to Armada is simply look in the future. It's not that hard.
The secret to Armada for a while was spam activation,
Yeah.
which seems to be the result of most competitive tabletop games that alternate activations.
Right, which is why like I'm glad that that like I never got into the competitive portion of it, and like I look really forward to playing Armada just for the sake of like casual stuff. Like I'll work together with my opponent and be like, hey, let's come up with something that looks super thematic and fun, and then let's play it out and see how stupid we were. And one of them was just broken, but we'll have fun.
If it's with the Superstar Destroyer, sure.
Yeah,
That's
that thing looks
ooh,
sweet.
that's a lot of money for something that I imagine I would only get like 2 or 3 games in with.
I would buy it
Much
knowing
better.
I'd never play a single game of it, just so I could have it sit somewhere.
Wait like a year, and I assume it'll be like much cheaper.
Honestly, I think they're going to do the minimum amount they feel they could get out there to satisfy who they think the demand will be for. And I
That's
bet
what
you
my
it'll
concern.
sell out, and then I think that's it. I don't.
Then again, I always
I don't
thought
think you'll
that
see
was going to
extras
be
on
the
hand
case with the Tantive 4. I never thought they'd keep reprinting that, but I guess C-3PO forced them to.
Yeah, that's right. It's like I bought my C-3PO and it came with a free ship expansion.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Cat.
I've still never played a game with my Gozanti. I
I
used
think-
every one of the other ones, though.
I have a Rebel Transport and a Gazanti, and I think I've only played 1 game each, and that was because it was with my wife's family and her
Wait,
brothers, and we just kind
Gozanti
of like,
I did. What's the scum one?
crap, what is that called? Old
When do they
Squad.
plan to release the Epic conversion kit and stuff?
Probably Gen Con.
I don't know if they release at Gen Con or just going to announce more information at Gen Con.
I bet they'll have some at Gen Con.
It is. Where,
Sea Rock. There we go.
that's it.
Yeah,
Sea-Rock.
I used the Gozanti once because I flew it into battle with a super Carnor Jax and a super Suntir attached to it, slammed everything into each other, and then had those 2 interceptors pop out and clean up everything. That was a lot of fun.
So is it a way of delivering them safely so they don't die along the way because they're attached to the Gozanti?
Exactly.
Do they not
Nice.
die even if the Gazanti dies?
Well, you just pop
Or
them
they
out
don't get
before the
hurt?
Gozanti dies.
Do they come out like a Nashta pup or something? Or
Well, you can do that. They come out with a damage card like, you know, all the other emergency deployments did, or you could just pop them out whenever you wanted to. So you just, you know, kind of bring in the Gozanti like from the side or something, and if they go after it, then your entire rest of your squad is crushing it. If they ignore it, then these 2 little things pop out and beat the shit out of anything that runs away from the scrum. It was a good time.
So, Chico,
Hmm.
how many figurines have you painted now since Adepticons? That's the last time you played. Seems like you picked up a mess ton of painting since then.
How many like figures in general?
Yeah, like guesstimate,
Okay.
right?
Since Adepticon,
Or
did a bunch of these guys.
Did you started painting a bunch before? I feel like it was after Adepticon you did a lot more.
Yeah, so it was Stuffed Fables is the game I was doing. It's a game I'm playing with my daughter. You play as stuffed animals that are saving a little girl from her nightmares. I was going through that, and I had to do like all the heroes and stuff because we actually started playing, and it's been a lot of fun. And I just finished up the last two from that. There's like this like doctor looking dude. I don't know if any of this stuff is coming through on there. If it's focusing. And so let me see if I can. And then there's like the main like ghost girl thing. Focus, damn you! There you go.
There you go.
She's crazy.
Red's kind of off.
She looks like House on Haunted Hill or wherever that recent show was.
And then there's this guy. He's like a mad scientist, doctor looking dude.
That just won't. There we go.
There. So he's neat. So finish them all up. So when my kids get back from vacation, we can do that. Next up, I've got the droids from. I'm starting to go through the Imperial Assault Hoth expansion.
Oh, nice! Those droids are cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on them next.
Are you strictly brush, no airbrushing?
Correct.
Good.
And like the concept of airbrushes are really neat. I don't have the discipline to treat them as well as they need to be treated. So,
I'm being paged. Be right back.
Yeah, so airbrush just isn't my style because of that. But I have slowly been doing more and more and more things based on stuff that that Luke is tricking me into doing. The latest amazing portion that I've been really excited about is a wet palette. If you don't use a wet palette, you absolutely should. Like, I finished Boba Fett like 3 days ago, and I'm pretty sure this paint just sitting here, yeah, it's still, I could still mix that around and it's still good. It's starting to dry out pretty good though.
Yeah, wet palettes are amazing. You will lose so much paint if you don't use them.
Yeah, and like I'll even take the colors that I know I'm gonna need, stick them on the wet palette like the day before I know I'm gonna have time to paint, and just leave it there because it allows it to soak in the moisture. And then it brings it to like a perfect consistency because like you should be thinning your paints a little bit. And if you do a wet palette right, then it thins your paints for you to like the perfect spot. It's amazing.
How thick of a layer of I don't know. I guess I'll look at it, but like how thick of a layer of paper towel, or do you use something else? Is wax paper? That's what I use.
No, not wax paper. So I'm using an old Chinese takeout container. So it's got kind of a, well, that's just pure white. So you can see there's a little bit of a lip here. So inside the water can pool like on the outside rim a lot more. So I can regulate the water a little bit better. And then it's just paper towel in here. And then this is not wax paper, but it's
a wet palette.
Yeah. What is this paper called?
That's not paraffin, is it? You're right. I forget
paper.
what Luke called it.
Parchment. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah.
Not wax paper because the wax will prevent anything from seeping through.
In other words, it can stay wet and not fall apart.
Yeah, but parchment paper, then paper towel on top.
You just throw that on top, and then I just take that whole thing, stick it in there, and I just fill this like half full with water, and then I just dump it out until water like kind of stops dripping, and then I let it sit there, and hooray, it's somewhat saturated. So, ta-da.
Nice.
It's done well, and it costs nothing to make, so you should definitely be using that because I used to use just one of these things before.
Yeah, that's what I have. I'll have to go back over Luke's old videos and go over the technique. Yeah, he explained it all.
I'll use this for like just some like paint mixing, but for the most part, I just use the wet palette now.
So, Chico, would you like to do the intro for today?
No.
Oh, then I got it.
No, I kind of figured that was going to be the answer.
He can't,
All right.
otherwise I'm not a host.
Sure.
I got one job.
I did not blend this for long enough.
Uh-oh.
We're
Chunky.
just- oh man, I'm already halfway done. This is gonna.
He's gonna be drunk.
It's going to be good.
You're such a goddamn.
Exactly. Coach, is that you?
All right. I have marked our timestamp.
We starting
Yeah.
now, or are we doing this at 10 o'clock?
We're not
You
waiting
could care
for that
less.
long.
Okay.
Let's get this going.
Let's get this
Gotta-
over with.
We got like commercial break to have and probably take up more time anyway.
All right. Do I start? Do I start? Do I start?
I can give you a countdown.
Get ready here. You don't need to. I just got to get my voice ready here. Hang on. Because you got to do the whole frickin' Good Morning Vietnam screech, and then there go your vocal cords. Hang on a sec. Okay, done coughing. Got that out of the way. And here we go. Good morning, XWing! Hey, this is not a test. This is OCX Radio. Time to rocket from the Delta Pilot to the 4BZ. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the OCX Radio podcast, broadcasting live via pirated signal from a hidden lair in Louisville, Kentucky. My name is Gordon the Worst Berg, filling in for Coach because his wife said so. And joining me tonight is OCX Ace of Legend, Ryan Ontomsky. Hi, Ryan.
Hi. You're gonna talk content, but my ears hurt and I'm confused now.
Why are you confused, Ryan?
Coach isn't here and you're here. That's
But I'm a host,
And-
Ryan.
for tonight.
Yeah,
Normally,
exactly. We'll get into that in a
co-host.
second. Also,
How many times?
Wait,
Have you counted
yes?
how many times you've hosted?
well,
OCX,
where
like,
I'm
flat
the
out
official
hosted?
host.
Yeah.
Hoax. I'm the hoax. I think this is at least 3, and it might be my 4th, but I want to say 3.
I feel like it's closer to like 4 or 5.
Really? Well, then I've blacked out some of those other episodes.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Guess who is gracing us? I use that word intentionally. Gracing us with his presence. None other than Chris Chico Brown. Hi, Chris. Is he muted?
Did he mute himself, or is he moving his mouth just because?
Is this just like the worst intro ever? I think
I
so.
don't know.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. He's all, is this on? Is this on? Yeah. You're right, Chris. You do look like an idiot. I don't know what you
I don't know
did
if
to
this
mute
is a-
yourself.
I'm actually not sure if this is a bit.
Back.
That couldn't be a bit. That had to be stupidity.
Like, is it back?
Is what back?
Yeah, you're good. You got it.
Son
You're
of a
here.
bitch.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Internet
for-
problems,
like,
Chris?
no, my voice meter just decided just quit working. Why not?
So that's the piece of junk you guys want to send me? That? I don't think so.
Holy crap.
No. Voice meters are software.
No, this thing's fine. I think it's fine. But I went on to voice meter and the bars weren't bouncing. I blame your screeching.
Is that it?
It just shut it off. It couldn't take it anymore.
So Coach does it for 100 episodes. That's okay. I do it the
You-
one time with you, and it's my fault. Well,
Yep.
You
I am-
added a level of Minox level of screeing in that one.
Scree, got it. So here's the deal. Coach called an audible, which means I get to be the host, right? Because his wife says, you got the kids tonight. So, the thing is I always want to be on the show because I'm me, right? I always want to be me. And that's why you guys don't want me on the show. You're like, stay away. You're wanting too much attention on yourself. So the one time I don't want to be on, of course, is the one time Coach needs me, right? I had plans tonight. I had to rearrange my schedule to cover for this. But am I prepared, Ryan? Do I have any topics? Do I have anything to contribute?
You're as prepared as any of us.
God, I hope you have something, because I haven't
No.
played since Adepticon.
You're right. Right. I'm not prepared either. But that's not what matters. What matters is that I'm the host, and I take credit for everything Ryan says if the show is a success tonight. This is how this is going to work.
There you
So,
go.
Ryan,
Huh.
I
I don't
need
know if I
you
should
to
sign up
talk.
for this anymore.
What is the game called? It's called XWing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I figured you'd like throw out some XWing stuff. And then we'll just
Yeah.
react. How's that
Okay.
sound? Yeah.
So I try to keep this in the realm of like, hey, no matter how long it's been since you've played, you can talk about this, Asa.
He's no longer. He's out of the game, man.
Yeah,
Lame.
whatever.
Is that
Lame
the excuse he
excuses, right,
gave, or
Chico?
is he working? Doesn't he work?
That's the excuse I gave too, but then
Yeah, well, here
then
you
I
are.
got drafted back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you
Look,
were glad enough to
can
make
still
yourself
have
a
an opinion.
margarita.
Yeah, so somebody told me I could drink on a Wednesday night, and I went, I remember those days. Those were dumb. Sure.
You're almost done
Sure.
with that
This
giant
is the only
mug of
reason you're
margarita.
joining us.
You shut up.
You should see the size of this beer.
You're
stud
not
we've
my
got.
mother.
I know. I'm
Glasses
I'm
that
like in
size are
awe.
supposed to be with lesser alcohol content. Look at the size of that
No,
glass, dude.
This
You're
is
not going to survive.
this is
show.
the one that was given to me at 2018 Worlds.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This is an
Nice.
awesome mug.
Yeah, for the people who are just listening and not watching live, you're missing out on the sheer amount of alcohol Chico's consuming currently.
They're going to hear it.
My boss is gonna hear it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Jesus.
Gordon rule is all I'm telling you, Chico.
It's game over, man. Game over.
All right.
Just let it be.
Okay.
All right.
So I don't know what it's been like for you guys, but I feel like summer is just taken over in the sense of I just don't care. I don't have an opinion on anything. I haven't thought about anything. And maybe you guys can appreciate this. Do either of you guys play fantasy football?
Nope.
I do.
Okay. In general, this July is the first you actually start to maybe think about these kind of things. I have done a full, hard nosedive into it. All I've done is think about fantasy football and listen to podcasts about that, and the result is XWing has just been pushed to the side. Even though we've had a points drop, right? Like Christmas, right? We get Christmas twice a year now with XWing. We get the new points.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever. And I just haven't. I'm picking up my ships. I think I'm gonna get them Friday. I think the stuff I've ordered, and I just don't care. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I mean,
Well, Gordon-
I'm kind of in the same in the same place as you, but the reason for that for me is that I have like the local group has gotten weird because like there's the one store that me and Luke aren't welcome at anymore. That's a whole long story. Go back like 30 episodes, you'll hear that one. There's the new store where all of the 40K players are finally starting to play XWing, and it's really cool. And we all kind of stay away because they're little baby seals, and we want them to grow up to be big seals instead of clubbing them now. So we're kind of leaving them alone, and they're doing their thing. And I talked to their leader, and then Luke had his kid, so I don't get to play with him, so I haven't played since Adepticon. But like I'm still active. I've just spent all of the time since then till now just shaking my head at everything that Chris Allen says.
Really?
So yeah, well, with the whole Judge Illuminati group, we're still going strong. We still have discussions. So maybe we'll.
Okay. I want you to share some dirt on that later when we get to it. We'll give a segment.
Yeah, absolutely. I will. We can go through some of the stuff we're discussing right now, some of the stuff we voted on recently, and
I want to hear about all that. All right.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Ryan, what about
Wait,
you?
Gordon?
Yes, sir.
I'd say let's divert tangent. I want to hear about that now.
Now,
Shit.
you don't want to talk
Unless-
about X-wing apathy?
Well, it's still X-wing.
Well,
But-
let's finish this, and
Oh.
we'll stick a pin in this one, and we'll grab it next.
All right.
All right. I just want to
So-
know where you're at with X-wing. What are you
X-wing
excited about? Are you
apathy.
apathy? Are you like geeked out? I suspect I know what the answer is, but still.
Oh, what do you think the answer is?
Oh, I think you're excited. I think the points just came out. I think you want to experiment. I think you want to go try to figure out and be the first in that race to solving the meta. I know that
Yep.
brain of yours. I know how you work.
So, my brain is already thinking about counters to what I believe the meta is going to be.
Oh,
Holy
from
shit!
that
My
already.
Okay.
brain just got hit by that tequila.
okay.
Okay,
So
this is gonna be fun.
You're not just
Continue.
tinkering. You're already assuming what the meta is going to be, and now you're presenting solutions to it. Is where you're at.
Yes, on top of building as many lists as possible that I can think of from factions that I care about, and by care about I mean separatists, because Roger, and then being sad that only 2 of the lists that I've made out of all the ones that I've looked at may be viable, and I might try one of them, and if that's not viable, then I give up
Okay.
until the Nantex comes out or the next points adjustment, because separatists are just vultures aren't cheap enough for how they want to use them, which is FFG's idea, is they don't actually use munitions. They just escort the hyena virus, which is cool. I like that idea. But a 1-point decrease ain't going to cut it.
All
in my
right.
mind.
All right. So here's what we're going to. Okay. So this is going to be our show. We're going to, because everyone has already done. I've followed enough of the podcast to know everyone has had a reaction to the points changes and what has stood out and what needed changing, what got nerfed, what didn't get nerfed, all that kind of stuff. What they think people will play because they're cheap now. Blah 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 blah. So then we can then take that the next step forward and speculate what we think the meta is going forward or where it's going to start. We're going to discuss, and then a subset of that, if you guys don't mind indulging me, especially you, Ryan. I don't care about extended that much at the moment, other than I need to bring something to Gen Con, not because I expect to win at Gen Con, just because I just need something to play. I want to goof off with something. If I make day 2 with it, yay, but whatever. But I'm still finding myself dialed into hyperspace. I like hyperspace. Even if it's not there yet, it's still their attempt at being a better balanced format than I think extended is, because once whatever boogeyman emerges out of the ashes of the old point system we just had takes hold, then it's just a bunch of crap. It's too much to balance at this point. They're not there yet. I feel like it's easier to achieve in extended or in hyperspace. I could be wrong. So what I'm asking of you, Ryan, is I'm mulling over whether I'm going to go to any more hyperspace trials for the second half of the year. If I do, what list should I take? So I want you and I to kind of brainstorm up a list.
Of hyperspace specifically?
Yeah, hyperspace lists.
What type of list would you like to fly? Not what faction. Do you want to fly aces, or do you want to fly?
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't have to be all aces, but I want at least one ace in my list.
Okay. I hear Jedi are good.
Well, we know, I think if we had to get into a little bit of speculation, we know Jedi are just going to be everywhere, right? How could they not be? They just dropped the points so low on Mace and Obi at the very least. The question is,
Star Wars,
like-
they're supposed to be everywhere.
Obi-Wan and Plo Koon were
Space
the
wizards.
cheapest drops, but technically, because of 7B's adjustments, some of them went up, and R2 Astromech is a regen droid because it scales on their 3 agility before 7B's applied to make it 2 agility. That also technically got increased, so I think we're going to see a little less of Anakin, but
Right.
a lot of Obi-Wan. A lot.
Has
I
that
think-
been officially determined that it gets applied on their original agility before anything else is added in?
I think it was only because of, like, I've never fully looked at that in the rules, but I assume that's how it works on the official app. So all the other apps have followed suit.
Right. I suppose if that's the way it is on the app, then that's the way it is. So
Yeah. I've never
Hmm.
like I looked because I remember it was on something else before the 7B title that was like, oh, it takes the base stats. I was like, oh, okay, I guess. So I think it was like stealth device when someone tried it with actually it was 7B title, but it was with stealth device because that scaled agility.
Yeah, I remember having that argument. Okay, yep. So it's what Anakin, and I add on the configuration, and then I add on the astromech R2, right?
Yep.
So R2 is 6 points on that thing.
Instead of the 4, which is for agility 2 normally. But surprise.
So it is after. I know. So
No,
okay. Never mind. Got it. Yep.
Okay.
Cheers.
Okay.
Margaritas.
So,
so-
Jedi's are going to be everywhere. What do you?
That's
And the cool thing about it is you're starting to see people come up with all kinds of 4 and 5 ship lists where they can throw in a couple torrents because those are not bad as filler, right? They get in the way. They can do barrel roll evades. You know, they live, they stick around, they block things, and then you still got room for 3 other ships. Like my friend just today was texting me about how he played a couple games against, say, a Rick Ollie and a couple Jedis and a couple torrents. You know, that's pretty good.
So I think people are fooling around with CLT Jedi, but I don't yet know if it's going to still be if it's a viable choice.
It depends on
competitive
who's
play.
flying it. If Mikhail was here right now, and this is not to steal our thunder from what he is probably going to discuss, God forbid, the next time we record, but they held a mini tournament and he won it with CLT Jedi because he was able to, with the lower initiative ships, guess where those people were going to be, and he got bullseye all the time.
Sure.
He thought it was super powerful. He liked it a lot, and he's reading everyone trashing CLT, and he's like, "Well, I think you guys are wrong, or you guys just suck and can't fly."
I mean, there's a little bit of both on that, right? Because if someone can fly it, you will get more value out of it.
Yeah.
But there's something. It's kind of like the X-wing versus B-wing, at least in the durability, right? Like, yeah, you have one more agility, but there's also the more guaranteed health and more of a reason to take a regen droid since you have 3 shields versus 1. So 7B higher floor, CLT per point could have a higher ceiling. So
If you were,
what list can be put together depends.
If you were, I know you have your own preferences, but if you were to try to give advice to someone and they were saying they were going to be flying a list with an ace in it, would you then advocate putting together a Republic list because of the Jedi lowered costs? Would you go there, or would you choose something else?
I mean,
here's what I'm wrestling with.
Sure.
Here's what I'm wrestling with. The list that I got second place with at the trial here in Louisville, whenever we had that, a month or 2 ago, whenever it was, which was Sunter, Vader, and 2 of the bombers.
Mm-hmm.
That list has gone up 2 points. It's still viable. I can still play it. It's just 199 now instead of 197.
Sure.
I'm seriously thinking of still flying that. Should I?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I think.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is there something that's going to emerge? Because I haven't given any thought about these points changes. That's going to make me go, "Oh, not a good idea."
I think there isn't a strong enough reason to not highly consider Vader and Soontir. They're like in hyperspace. The fact that a faction can take 2 I6s with passive mod with Vader's 4 charges and his actions efficiencies, along with Soontir, who is an I6 with double reposition capability and a way to still get a focus via his ability. It's hard not to highly consider them anyway. It's not to say like Republic is really strong, but it depends on the skill level of the player. I feel like if you were like mid-tier-ish and like getting into the game, I think Jedi are an easier barrier to entry because there's more passive mods via your force. and your double actions is only based upon spending a force charge versus getting stressed like Soontir. Or Vader, who has to use afterburners, whereas all Jedi ships have boost and the Jedi ships have fine-tuned controls where you can go through a rock or a gas cloud and still get your fine-tuned controls, but not your action. Spoiler alert, if you're not bringing Jedi, you should bring debris clouds.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, because no,
They get
I brought
stressed.
the gas clouds with my list. So right, let's super stress them now, maybe.
Oh, so
instead.
Gordon plays on easy mode these days.
How is that easy mode?
Nothing to dodge.
Oh.
I remember way back in like wave 2 and 3 of first edition when we would sit down on a table with our friends who have never heard of this game called XWing, and we would think about playing with no asteroids, so it's nice and easy. But then it was like, no, that's terrible. You need asteroids. You need something to fly around, so it creates like something to be going around and make it interesting. And like that's the one thing, like I still really don't like gas clouds, just because they create that environment of,
I agree.
fuck it, fly where you want. And I don't like it. Like it should just, like, even if it just said add a strain, like I always like
sure.
that.
Yeah, how they've got them now is horrible. The fact that they didn't present a strain token by going through them, I think, is a huge misstep. The only reason I brought them is because I really needed them to keep Soontir alive. That was it. But otherwise, I'm not a fan of.
Sure, if you have Soontir as an
I hate
ace,
him.
that makes sense.
Yeah, if I'm not flying Soontir, I'm not bringing gas clouds. I hate them.
Is it more detrimental to the game that there's no consequences for going through there besides just losing your action, or the fact that after fully execute maneuver triggers don't stop by going through an obstacle? Like a defender can still get full throttle by going through a rock or a gas cloud. It didn't matter either way. It still gets an evade. Or a Jedi can still use fine-tuned controls because it's considered still fully executing a maneuver. Is that something that we think should be changed before gas clouds get a consequence?
I mean, that's a fair assessment, because like it was TIE defenders that originally could go through rocks and still get their evade, but then they errated it so that they couldn't, and then second edition came around and now they could again.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked the fact that there was some sort of penalty. So the fact that they've added a lot of things that have that no consequences mentality. I've never been a big fan of that. I like putting the difficulty in there and forcing people to create a situation of, okay, here I am, now I can do a crazy thing. And then your opponent can see those lanes and counter that. It creates, like interesting play, in my opinion. So I enjoy the difficulty and eliminating that.
And they still have the means of addressing this, not in the sense that they need to fix gas clouds, but because of the new way they handle rules now. Rules are whatever they say they are. If they say for the hyperspace format that gas clouds are illegal, yay, right? Or for extended, it's illegal. In other words, it's their way of communicating, this is what we want as our new player entry sort of competitive format. This is what we want to be our expert tier. And
right. Which I'm sure this has been regurgitated a lot, but I've been off the radar for a while. So buckle up. FFG, if you're listening, you're not. I know you're not. But if you're listening, start growing some balls, and on your hyperspace format, start eliminating some shit. Really create a restrictive format that makes for some really interesting play of this, and this gone, this, and this are in. Do it. Like we are craving something like incredibly interesting. Like people will be incredibly pissed off for like 3 days of that one thing that they loved that you eliminated. And then we will all be hunting down that new golden goose in that new restrictive meta to be happy and win. Like, just do it.
I agree. I'd be really sad if Wave 5 came out and the re-releases showed up and still nothing changed. Right? Like, for some reason we still have a Sheathipede and a Ghost, like, that's been added, but we also still have the XWing, which I guess they still fill different roles, but I don't know, they seem like a good swap.
Yeah, that XWing is, you got to think that's one of the first things that will go away.
Yeah. Like, Rogue One's cool, but let's swap some things out. Seems fun.
All right, so let's continue with this topic just a little bit. Here's the problem, Ryan. I am addicted to heroic. I must have heroic when I play. It is the single best upgrade in all of X-Wing, and anyone who says otherwise is just wrong. Math be damned. It is the best upgrade because of how it makes you feel when it works.
Yeah, it removes all of those feel bad moments.
Yes, it's
no
like
matter
golf.
how many of them there are in a tournament.
Yes.
But that moment is gone.
People who are terrible at golf and yet continue to play it will understand this. You'll have that one amazing hit or that one amazing hole where the universe and its secrets are revealed to you, and God lets you see everything. And you're like, oh, this is great. And then it's all taken away. And you're like, because as you play the rest of the course, and you're like, I don't care. I had that one amazing moment, and I will come back again next week. Heroic is the same thing. The feel good is so feel good. It soothes all. So Ryan, we have a bunch of new toys in Resistance. Is there anything that screams as the must-play heroic list?
I could tell you that most of the Resistance lists don't even have heroic in them. Does that help?
Okay, just FYI, your internet, for whatever reason, sir, sucks tonight. If your wife is watching Netflix, tell her stop. Nope. Find a way to get better bandwidth. Stop all your illegal downloads. I don't know what's going on, but repeat that sentence.
I've noticed a couple hiccups.
No, he's had a bunch. So what's going on? What's up with heroic? Say it again.
I have built most of my Resistance lists without heroic.
How dare you?
That's just because points that were available. There wasn't enough points for heroic.
Not what I want to hear.
So there was a tournament in I don't know what country that is. Holy crap. Never mind. So some country in List Fortress had like 35 players, and the highest heroic was ranked 20. Only got 2 wins in a 5-round tournament.
No, I'm not saying you shouldn't take heroic, but it shouldn't inhibit your ability to build a Resistance list. So, for example, a list I've been messing around with that's been moderately successful.
I bet it's got a bomber in it.
Huh? No.
Oh, I'm disappointed.
I still don't believe in them yet. It has 9 Nub with Pattern Analyzer, Elo Asti, Greer with Advanced Optics, and the new boy on the block, which, by the way, watch out for this guy. Nodin in the Resistance Transport with Corsella's Crew, which is when you execute a blue, you remove all your stress, and R4 Astromech for more blues on your 1s and 2s.
I've seen this guy. So that you always get yourself stressed, and then that way you get 3 attack dice, and then you do all kinds of things.
No.
Get rid of all the stress?
The 3 attack person's Covanel. Oh. Nodin is the guy that says when you coordinate, as long as you have 2 or fewer stress, you may perform another action on your action bar, and you must treat it as red if it's not. So he becomes double stressed, but he basically has coordinate push the limit.
Nice.
What's really good about that is, okay, I'm going to coordinate, and I'm going to take a focus. That's the average, right?
Right.
What's really underrated is most opponents that I've had don't go for him because he's the least threatening thing. Until he gets in the mix, because he's I2 and moves before everyone else, coordinating and jamming opposing ships is really good. Surprisingly good and effective.
So note to everybody, when you're going against Nodin, on your first turn, you target lock the first rock you can find. Every single ship target lock a rock. So then when Nodin rolls up and goes, I'm going to jam you before you move, you go, fuck off. Remember turn 1? Gone from that asteroid.
Good point.
That is the lamest tactic I've ever seen in X-Wing, but it's incredibly effective. And man,
that probably explains a lot, because I've seen people take an action where they do lock a rock, and I'm like, why did you even bother? And now I know why.
Because of that. Because
I probably
lower
wasn't
initiative.
paying attention, but there was
jam.
probably some jamming being sitting on a ship because it was a free 0-point upgrade or something, and so that was the counter just in case.
Yeah,
granted, that makes sense.
Stupid.
Granted, like it, just about any time you see jam across the board, you may as well lock a rock or something, which is really dumb. Yes, but it's really good against Vader, who would like to actually lock what he wants. So, Vader's very prominent right now. So, I'll take it.
Do you think there's any lists that will emerge with Leia, the new Resistance Leia, as the key to it, like making it the super danceable Poe or whatever it is? Like, I've seen Dion play whatever it is he's been playing, some kind of Poe Leia on a transport list. I don't know. Am I wrong? It doesn't, like a BB-8 can move anywhere. Poe, it doesn't seem like the list has enough.
So I expect people to try Rey Poe and Leia to be on Rey, and Poe to be crazy Super Poe, movie Poe, and Rey to have at least.
Yeah, that was the very first list I built. Was like, how do we recreate Rey Poe in second edition?
So I can see how it's better than it was before. I still don't know about the like you said, firepower is good, but the staying power, right? Like Rey still can just die. It's also there's a lot of things moving forward that I'm going to label as meta dependent, because Rey can probably thrive in 3 ship average meta. When it's 4, it's more of a chance for her to be surrounded and easier to die. And then that means Poe has to deal with more ships at the end game.
Yeah.
But
what about the Dion list that he's been playing? He's been just doing Leia on a transport and like a couple T-70s.
Transport that works good with Leia is Covenel. That's the one where you can dial in a red. Leia will make it white, but because of how the ability is worded, it's still treated as red, so that ship gains an extra die attacking and defending. So it becomes an 8 health U-wing.
Right.
It becomes a U-wing because it will have 3 attack dice, 2 defense dice all the time, and can still do zeros, reverses, 1 turns, 3 banks, all considered white, but are technically revealed red for its own ability and still get actions.
Okay.
It's a lot more points because of Leia, but seems effective. But that means you're using Leia on mainly that ship every turn.
Yeah, and that's just ugh. I don't like that. I like the fact that she can super coordinate another ship like Poe.
Chico, you said you wanted something on the transport.
Speaking of this Resistance transport, I went on an entire Star Wars movie marathon over this summer, which was fantastic. Which, throw in the chat what order you think an entire Star Wars movie marathon should be presented to a brand new watcher, because I'm going to repeat this with my daughter soon. I went chronological order. Wham!
Shame on you.
Well, it was just me. It was me by myself. I did it.
But if you had to do it for your daughter, would you?
I don't know. I kind of like the machete order.
I have a comment on that, but go ahead.
I like the machete order.
So when I got to the last movie, Last Jedi, I finally came to the realization that when they went to Canto Bight, they went on just the tiny chunk of the Rebel transport.
Yep.
I didn't know that. I was like, that's the thing. So like, I was super excited about that. And then I immediately jumped to, how the fuck did they do that if Kylo blew up the entirety of their ship
Their main hangar
docking
bay, yeah.
area? Yeah, all those ships were destroyed. Or was there another one on the other side that only had transports that Kylo super knew about? And he was like, they ain't got any X-Wings over there.
What, are you going to ruin Avengers Endgame next because they just created an impossible timeline scenario that they put on screen? Shut up!
So hold on. Speaking of the pod, we'll take care of this. There are two main pod builds that I think are very valuable. One of them is Vi Maradi, because it gives an opposing ship a condition that says if you're in range 0 to 3 of Vi Maradi, flip your dial over. Hey, look, reveal dialed. So you basically take Vi and just put that condition on a higher ace ship than what your list is flying, and then throw C-3PO crew on her.
Right.
Say, I'm going to coordinate, and I'll get it calculated anyway.
Tommy's high on Finn because it's a cheap way of getting more dice in the fight.
Finn with heroic and C-3PO is also really good. I've actually considered using that Finn instead of a 5th A-Wing and 5 A-Wing list.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because that's the next segue. Because you have discussed this, right? You shared with me the change to the list. What do you think? You think it can shine again because of maybe some reduction in Rebel Beef? And we'll get to Rebel Beef in a second. But can 5 A-Wings fly again or not?
I think they can. In most cases, if you're actually flying 5, it's probably without Lulo, and it's excuse me, on a consistency basis for throughout the list. It might make the list better if you don't not sacrificing points to get him. Because in essence, Lulo was there for an extra early punch to get a little ahead, and then continue the barrage of shots the next round with rear arcs or closing in front arcs from the back guys. So in most cases, and in the other part too, is that because other things also went up, you're more likely to sacrifice crack shot because that may never happen in a game, which granted heroic may also never happen on that one, but
yes, it will. Bite your tongue.
It's the extra percentage of guaranteeing those 2 hits on the double blank that heroic will get you. So I think I've built like a Tally, Greer, Zari,
2 blue.
I think 2 blue
and with 2 cracks left over.
Oh, did it have 2 crack available?
On Greer and
cracks one Tally and Greer.
And everyone's got heroic. Everyone's got advanced optics.
Yep.
And that's what
most consistent it can be.
Right. So that's what I'm mulling over taking to the next trial. I love me my 5 A-Wings.
Sure. I mean, I'm overall expecting a reduction of ship count, and A-Wings should benefit from that unless regen Jedi become too consistent. And hey, you know what's better than heroic? Force charges. Sadly.
Yeah. So we know we're going to see a reduction in Rebel Beef for 2 reasons. One, it's hard not to play with the new shiny things because they reduce the cost so much on a lot of stuff. How do you not dabble with it, right? And 2, there's always the overreaction. All right? Until someone just shows up and takes the leap at a major event and does well with it despite the fact it's been nerfed, you probably won't see everyone piling back onto the Rebel Beef bandwagon again.
So I will say for the Rebel Beef, I'm expecting 2 main routes people will go to find a way to find the new version of it. One is Braylon 10 Nub, Cassian with Leia, and Jake fits with some upgrade space, I think. So you don't have I6 Wedge, but you do still have both B-Wings with Cassian, with Leia, and we found Jake was effective before. One tricky thing to remember about Jake is that he gives friendly ships focus, and B-Wings barrel roll link off that focus. So 10 Nub, who normally doesn't have full mods, might be able to get full mods because he can. It could either order, right? 10 Nub can move up, take a lock, and then Jake can move and then do his barrel roller boost. give him a focus, and he can barrel roll from that. Full action, stressed, focused, target lock, 10 dub.
And the other version?
Bigs.
Right.
Stuff with bigs.
Right.
Right.
Big's basically in
It's-
place of wedge.
Bigs is the inevitable. So
Right. We have a local to be in my chat group. In fact, Rebel Mike, he was I had him on as a guest the last time we recorded Stay on Target, and that's his list. He's like, just basically put the 2 B wings in, put in the U wing, put in bigs. There goes wedge, and he can still make it all work, and that's his plan. And he had run a bigs version at the local trial and had done very well. He was able to get dice with it, so that's his plan going forward.
yeah, I don't think you can fit Cassian. I don't think you fit
I don't know
both
if it's
Cassian, though.
Cassian. It might be just the blue
Yeah,
or
because
whatever.
I'm pretty sure, because if Jake can only fit with those 3, then Biggs definitely can't.
Right.
But
It
you can still
basically
get
the nerf.
competition.
Yeah, the nerf just kills the wedge versions a lot of times. It kills the swarm tactics versions. And the swarm tactics versions were very important because those were the rebel beef counters to other rebel beef.
Yep.
We saw single swarm tactics. We saw double swarm tactics. I think a lot of those go by the wayside. So I think you're going to see, that was kind of the thing about rebel beef, was you saw all kinds of variety depending on what you were trying to counter. Now I think we're going to see just very few versions of it. I think we'll settle into just 1 or 2, kind of like what you said.
Yeah, I don't unfortunately see a place for Y-Wings besides Nora, potentially, because she's always just really hard to kill. And
What about Horton?
Dutch. So my secret one has been not secret, but like I think Horton's a lot better than people think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, rerolls are good, as
Yes.
Braylon has showed us.
Yes.
And hey, you don't have to stress yourself for it. Like, just get someone in range 1. It's not too hard if you have 4 ships in the list, which I think you should if you're flying Horton. So I think Horton's good, and I think people should investigate that. But granted, turrets went up by 1 point, and veteran turret gunner went back up to 8, right? So it went back up 2. So you may need to just look at Horton as like, I have a turret, I'm going to point it out to the side. I'm either going to have a pretty modded primary shot anyway, because 2 dice still hurt. You're going to be hit by my ion, and I'm going to get rerolls. So sure.
Okay.
I'll just have a 180 arc.
All right. All right. So just as a quick, getting back onto your tangent, Chris, there was this father who was faced with this dilemma, and not a dilemma, excited to share his love of Star Wars with his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And he had some definitive thoughts on the order in which they should be shown and revealed. And he went through that process, and as he went through it, he decided he was going to write a book about it. And he has now put out a book and his thoughts behind and the reasoning behind why they should be shown in the following order. And then he kind of put that to the test to see, to see what the result was with its kid. So I heard him on a radio interview, and it sounded fascinating. And I at one point was going to get that from Amazon and then forgot to do it. But I'm certain if you just Google about a dad that wrote a book out there about what order to show Star Wars to your kids in, you may want to give it a look.
Okay.
Assuming you care about that kind of thing at all.
I'll give it a
Okay.
shot.
So, Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
my thinking now is now I've talked about all I care about as far as the list I care about at this point. So you might as well use this as an opportunity to segue into your meta predictions. And you can talk extended, you can talk hyperspace, whatever it is. Why don't we use this as a segue into what you think people are going to be doing, highlight some of the lists and why, and we're assuming because of the points changes. I mean, what else could it be about? And what you plan to do about it.
All right. So
Okay. Well, how long is this discussion going to be?
Do you need to go potty?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out where to put commercial and where to put Illuminati talk.
Illuminati will go
Are we
after
time?
commercial.
We're actually. Are we being professional here? And we're actually time stamping.
I have. So we'll do Illuminati after commercial. Then we'll enter in with that.
Oh, Illuminati is a total after commercial thing. Right now, we want to. we want to scratch that competitive X-wing itch stuff, and then we can go down whatever frickin' rabbit hole you want to do later.
Yeah, because I'm really interested to find out what all this new wave content stuff has provided your Illuminati group. Anyway, so I'm gonna kind of. It's hard not to focus on hyperspace because like 4 of the 7 factions have everything in hyperspace. It seems better than it used to be, type thing. So overall, I think because of the points change, Rebel Beef has been broken in some manner. There's a small subset of people who will try and find the new version. I believe the majority
of broken as in it's no longer good, not broken as, oh my god, this shit is broken.
Well, yeah, broken as in like it doesn't fit anymore.
Well, they solved it. They figured out what the best versions were, and that got addressed.
Yeah. So I think the general average player regresses to aces. Is it safer in most cases? And people who have played the game long enough get at least a feel for aces, and they'll go to like whatever faction that they might have some affinity for. Most cases, it's Imperial players, Soontir Invader, which is pretty common. Hey, Fifth Brother came to hyperspace, so hey, Duchess, you got a little better in the 3-ace combination. 000 came into hyperspace, so hey, Vermeil, you got a tool now because you fly with Vader sometimes. So like we could see some Soontir Vader Duchess that still end up with 3-point bids that have pretty well equipped for each ship. Or Soontir Vader Vermeil, something along those lines. And the other way to go that seems to be, I believe, the most popular and well equipped to handle most things is the Republic. They have access to the most 3-force. The Jedi are insane knife fighters because they don't get stressed when they use double actions. They just have to, quote unquote, manage their force, which a lot of people thought was going to be really difficult to do. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So why would I ever take a purple evade, or what, using this action is going to take away my force? Like, surprise, it's not actually that hard to manage. And it's even easier when most of them just take gas clouds. So that's fun and engaging. So
I feel the sarcasm.
So expect, likely, as I mentioned earlier in the cast, more Obi-Wan for sure. So he's still 3-force. He's I5. Mace, I think, is still very valuable at I4. Even though it went down in points, it was still starting to see more use. Sense. Expect a whole lot of Sense 3-force Jedi because they're not I6 Anakin anymore. And why don't I just see your dial and block you anyway? Because Jedi can also be really good blockers. And if Mace has to block, it's not too bad if Obi-Wan can hit. And say hello.
Are you getting enough ships in your list that if you're blocking with one of them, the others can really do something?
There was a list in Extended that were triple Jedi before the points nerf, and it's because they had sense. And I think the guy made all the way to 2nd or 1st, and it was either like Spanish or UK, or it was some big European event based on just sense Jedi, and 3 was enough.
Yeah. That is pretty much that. I messed with that for a bit. I took it to Campaign Against Cancer. Yeah, that.
Oh yeah, I remember. So, I beat that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Campaign Against Cancer. Never heard of it.
Jeez, it makes Chico mad. So what fits really well in that list? So I think that this is my own list building. If I was playing Republic right now, I would play Obi-Wan and Mace, both of them with 7B, both of them with Sense, both of them with Regen Droid. And then, who I deem to be the new Lulo, Rick Ollie, with another Regen Droid, and either take the 3-point bid. Yes, you have a 3-point bid after all that, or take a crack shot for fun.
I like it.
You have 3 regen ships, and when Rick Ollie needs to scoot away, he can just regen instead if he got hit at all. Obi-Wan's ability is surprisingly good to utilize when their opponent is focusing on Rick Ollie, because he can just spend a force to let Rick get his focus back, so you can be focus evaded for most of the turn with 3 agility as long as you went faster. According to a couple other podcasts, I think Travis had tried out Rick Ollie a bit. People surprisingly do weird moves to try and stay the same speed or go faster than Rick, so you can kind of mentally mess with them on that. Rick just goes as 3 speed, like your opponent either has 3 if they want to shoot at him, or go faster, and that might put them in just odd positions that aren't even beneficial to them anyway. And then you have 2 Sense Jedi, and I'll block what I want. Seems good.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay.
So my response to all that is I'm looking into Midnight, because you don't get mods. All that force, none of it. And it's I6, it's cheap. Kylo still fits, Quick Draw still fits. 2 I6s and I5, a really strong endgame I5 too. So
First Order got some reductions, right? Is there something possible now that wasn't before?
potentially, yeah. The SFs got cheaper. Some of the FOs got cheaper. Kylo and Quick Draw didn't get any cheaper, but there's probably something there. And a lot of people are dismissing First Order a lot, because they're like, oh, but the Upsilons went up and these things don't fit anymore like the way they used to be. Okay. Like, Gordon, did you know a generic SF with the SF gunner is 1 more point than an X-Wing?
You're breaking up a bit. Is a generic SF with a gunner more points than an X-Wing?
It's 1 more point.
Mm.
Doesn't that seem pretty
So-
good? Like,
Well, but the that's a 3 attack die ship, though, right?
yeah, when you have SF gunner, it's a attack die ship, just like a X-Wing. You have a rear arc if you want it. You have it linked to for free. You have access to an evade. You don't have access to a boost like X-Wing does, but you don't, like, there's drawbacks to it to some degree. But granted, even though that comparison is there, it's still, to me, the underlying issue that is generics still are not in a place in the game, in my mind, to compete with the power of the Aces have right now at their current cost.
All right. Look at the list Jacob there put in chat.
3 SFs with gunner, Scorch, and Longshot seems good. Why not?
Yeah.
Try it. Surprisingly really strong Alpha Strike that doesn't require a target lock. It's been named Tina, or TN 3465. Basically the FO that says it's basically ruthless, but just on herself. And it's like but it's for crits. So if an enemy ship's at range 0 to 1 of her, she could take a crit to let the attacker change a result to a crit result. So it's kind of like free guidance chips. And that ship fits with 4 SFs with gunner. So those 4 ships just take a focus. Tina just gets in your opponent's face, and if they can shoot at them, those are extremely modded 3 dice attacks. And they're all shooting at I2, meaning each ship can use a crit on that FO at the same initiative, and that ship doesn't get removed, and she can still shoot.
Yeah. I think First Order is going to emerge a little bit, just because those point reductions are too much to ignore. I think you're going to I saw someone in Facebook, I forget who it was, basically asking, "Hey, I'm looking to buy 2 SFs," and I
Moriarty.
It was a Moriarty. Okay, and I looked at that.
Moriarty.
Huh? And I go, the second anyone is asking to buy ships, my radar goes up saying, "What? Why? What do you want to?" And maybe it's because of that list right there.
Well, did you know 6 SFs fit in a list now with no upgrades?
Oh God, yeah, but it's
And you can just you could just always point the arc to the rear and have a front 2 and back 2. You don't have to man arcs like an A-wing.
Yeah. If I'm going to do that, I might as well fly 6 Hawks and have more fun.
I was just saying that sounds just mediocre in general.
Yeah. It's I've seen variations of that before, and it's meh. Okay. All right. So on Topski, you're going to a premiere event next week, and you have to win. Give us your secrets. What are you bringing?
For extended?
Sure, do both.
I want to win. I'm taking that Republic list for hyperspace because regen's good.
You're taking the 3, the Sense Jedi and Rick?
2 Sense Jedi. Yeah, I'm probably taking that.
All right.
The only other thing I consider to be TIE Swarm, because and out still works. They increased the cost on Swarm Tactics just on Howl Runner because it's initiative based, but they only lost their 1 point bid that they didn't really need.
Okay.
So that's what I would probably take, would be either a TIE Swarm or that Republic list, and people can mess around with Vader and Soontir, and they may not even be wrong anyway.
Okay.
As going into extended, I don't know. I would know what to do and what lists I could create in the other 4 factions, but that doesn't change the other 3 that have access to more things. But because of my general expectation that people will regress to lower ship count because they like aces, Sloane seems good.
Right.
Sloane seems like a good mechanic.
Right. What would your ship of choice be to pair with her?
The 1 point decrease actually mattered because she can fit an Omicron crew pilot, 2 TIE fighters, and 3 strikers, or you can swap out any of those strikers with an interceptor because they're the same cost.
Right on.
Without that 1 point decrease, that other TIE fighter doesn't fit, and you have to do 4 ships or 6 TIE fighters. But I like the 3 attack dice, and strikers can maintain arcs and recreate kill boxes really quickly because of their sloop and their sloop. There's 2 sloop and 1K with their ailerons. And I'm not joking. Okay, people think I'm joking when I mention this, but they're like, he still sucks. Dials crap. Dengar is cheaper.
Yup.
And I think worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's if you don't screw up flying him, which is easy to do, but you can get the double tap. People hate that, man. They don't want to shoot quick draw. They don't want to shoot Dengar.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's that I don't want that feels bad moment.
Right.
So they just avoid it like the plague.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basic Dengar loadout in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the title. I think R5P8 is a droid that's is criminally underused in Scum.
Is that the pain bot?
That is the pain bot, but it doesn't work the same way. It's a 3 charge droid, and while you perform an attack against a defender in your front arc, you may spend 1 charge to reroll 1 attack die. If it's a crit, you suffer a crit. I'll take that.
So now you're really not going to shoot Dengar.
No, because he's always modded now until he loses the 3 charges, but I don't expect him to live much longer than that. And because of that, I'll take Contraband Cybernetics and say, all right, when I K-turn or sloop, I'll still get a mod anyway. And Dengar, that's 71 points of an I-6, 2 attacking ship potentially, that I'm just there to burn bright and kill everything necessary to allow, hey, guess what fits with that? Fen Rao and Old Tarok.
Oh, perfect. That's great. That's a great list.
With 5 points remaining if I want to put Crackshot or Predator on either of the 2.
Yeah. Or yeah, are you Fearless on one of them? No, are you a Fearless fan? Or are there those? So
I would naturally want to actually put Fearless on Old Tarok, but I also don't want to invest more points in Old Tarok in that list. So I think I either take Crackshot on both, or I think I'd take Predator only on Fen and leave OT blank.
Yeah, makes sense.
And hey, that's 2 I6s that hit really hard, and old Tarak that can help set him up and also do some work in I5.
Yeah. Chris, God
Hmm?
forbid you actually played a game of X-Wing. What would you want to get to the table? And let's say it's a tournament. Let's say you want to do well. What are you leaning towards? Anything new, or are you just going to bring old stuff?
So the first thing I would probably do is log on to List Fortress and just start scrolling, because that's what I do. But if I went back to like something I know and understand, Fen Rao didn't take a hit like at all, and that's where I would be going first because I know him, I know I like him, I know I can fly him well. That's where I would be starting. And like we just discussed, like Dengar got cheaper. Like, I might do that. Like as much as it terrifies people to have, the jump master possibly good again. That's exactly where I would go.
Okay.
I'm not even sure if people are that terrified. I think they might accidentally forget how terrifying it was and be like,
right. And with how they've taken a lot of the really high initiative guys and kind of screwed them over a little bit, I would be looking at Guri still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love me some Guri.
Who doesn't? If anyone has never had the joy of flying an advanced sensor Guri, you haven't lived. It's just the best to watch your opponent go, well, I'm not going to bother because I don't know where she's going to go and she's not going to be there. I'll just go after the rest of your list. And you're like, thank you. You got an advanced sensor like outmaneuver Guri. Oh, it's
you get that opponent who does like the 5K turn going, fine, I'll just get way out of the way and cast my net wide and pray I get something, and you still manage to arc dodge it, and you're like, lols. Like,
I mean, this is why people bring I6s because of that craziness at I5. But when Guri can do those kind of things, it's just the best feeling ever. Almost as good as heroic on Topsky.
Yeah. So I will say though, I think Boba Guri is actually a really good counter to Sense Jedi.
Really?
Yes. Because one, the Sense Jedi type lists are probably 3-ship lists at most. And two, you're at like how you can build it. I'm gonna do a basic list build here. Guri's really hard to block. Guri has advanced sensors, right? That's pretty easy to figure. I think Boba in that list could solidly take use of Slave 1 title and shift which way he wants to turn if he dials in what he wants to do, shift it over. Take 000 to say, hey, maybe this block is actually to my advantage. So I'll get my rerolls and I'll get my calculate unless
they're not taking they're not taking a stress.
Yeah. And hey, if I get blocked by an ace, they don't like seeing bombs. I'm going to take prox mines. You want to fly through after me after you block me? Go for it.
How much is this starting to add up?
Let me build it because you actually still have a solid amount of bid. And this is like ideally hyperspace. And again, it's if the meta has more I6s because that's the problem. This list would have trouble against Vader Soontiers.
Right.
In my mind. Because unfortunately, Guri can get hunted by both those ships easily. Yeah. But if it becomes a higher Jedi meta with a lot of sense in I5s, there's easily enough of a bid. The
problem with, even though, in other words, people that are playing Vader and Sutra and stuff like that, they're doing this because they've made peace with the fact that their lists have become more expensive and they don't care and they're going to do it anyway. And they're hoping to have their advantage against I5 and below, which is likely going to happen with all of these increased lower initiative Jedis. But it's tough now to take Vader and Center in a bit. That's just kind of gone out the window. So that may give the Vader Center players a pause, unless they're just confident in their ability to always go first against other I6 lists. Which isn't, to do a Chris Allen impersonation. I didn't bring my I6 to go first, So it I don't know. We'll see. I suspect we'll see less Vader and Sutra as well, simply because of the slight cost of it. So all right. So you're building this out. Hang on. I just want a slight derail. Chris, We need a margarita update. What's going on with you, sir?
It's
Show it.
empty. I'm waiting for vacation break. I gotta go get ice.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So you're going to get ice during the commercial break.
Yes.
All right. Why don't we finish this part out? You give us this list, and then we're going to go to commercial, and then we're going to get into Judge Illuminati.
Yes.
Does that sound good to everybody?
And Tim might join us.
Oh, your fellow judge?
Yeah.
Right on.
Fun.
Let's do it.
So this Boba Guri is a advanced sensors lone wolf afterburner Guri. Don't forget, if you use advanced sensors, you can't use afterburners, but it's still a good tool to use. Don't mess it up, people. Boba
Or
Fett,
you just use it and hope your opponent doesn't notice. Like pro tip.
I'm pretty sure that has happened before.
Oh, absolutely. Do you remember me at Campaign Against Cancer? How many times did I cheat?
What were some of the things you did? I forget.
It was Vader with afterburner all of his target locking bullshit, and I was re-rolling stuff that I wasn't allowed to, and
it was Major Vendor. The OS1 title specifically says you can't spend your lock. You can
and I super did all the time.
And it wasn't until our game that we played against each other, I was like, no, you only get to reroll one dice. You have to keep your lock. And you read the card. You're like, oh, well, I'm sorry for my previous opponents.
Yeah,
because that vendor was a lot better. Still destroyed my Jedi though.
Cards are better if you cheat.
So that Guri's 85 with Lone Wolf, Advanced Sensors, Afterburners. Boba Fett has 000, Slave 1, Shield Upgrade, and Prox Mines. You have an 11-point bid. Seems like enough. If you want to mess around with an even lesser bid, you can do Rig Cargo Shoot on Boba or Advanced Proton Torpedo on Guri, but then you have a 5-point bid and stuff can bid that low. I mean, Guri has to make sure she goes last. You only have I-5 ships. You're playing the matchup gods of, I don't want to face Vader Soontir. If I don't face Vader Soontir, I might be okay. So, there you go.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, if Sense becomes really problematic in your meta, this is a really good counter to it. Advances Guri will not be blocked.
All right.
And if she does get blocked, it's on purpose.
Hang on 1 second. Okay, so guess who's in the chat before we go to commercial break? Who's in the chat?
Aaron's in there just chatting up a storm.
What, your kids aren't good enough for you? You now got to ruin this show, Aaron? All right, so he's saying I'm not paying attention to the chat. I know he was fussing at you earlier for not following the show notes. What did you not do, Ryan?
He didn't give me show notes. I don't know what he's talking about.
Even better. I like it. Okay. Now, here's your chance, Aaron. I am paying attention to the chat. Go, buddy. Tell me what I'm supposed to be talking about. Here, we'll make idle chit chat while there's going to be a lag, right? There's going to be some delay.
I guess some final things to note on list building. I'm not even looking at Rebels, so I don't got anything on that. Empire is either TIE Swarm or Vader Soontir plus stuff. Scum and Hyperspace probably Boba Guri. I don't know what else. Resistance. So overall, I think the T-70s have got the most to gain from these coordinating pods or transports, because A-Wings end up stressed. Poe ends up stressed. So I guess T-70's not named Poe. Poe ends up stressed. A-Wings end up stressed. And Falcons are too fast generally to be coordinated. I think T-70s are more in the realm to be coordinated by these transports or pods.
Yeah.
So build with those in mind, I think. Or if you're building with an RZ2, use Greer because he's more likely to end up not stressed.
Right. All right. I love the irony of this. Normally when there's an OCX show and it's reversed, I'm the one in the chat, making occasional commentary. And then every once in a while, Aaron will pay attention to it, mention my name, insult me because I can't do anything to defend myself, and then go on with the show. How the tables have turned. What's that, Chris?
And you still feel good about it because you were.
Oh, yeah. Look, bad publicity is better than no publicity at all. Negative attention is better than no attention at all. Absolutely. All right. Why don't we go to commercial break? I'm sure I need to go talk to my wife about something. Chris needs to go get ice so we can do more tequila. Not tequila, margaritas, right?
Por que no los dos?
Yeah. That's true.
Yep.
What are you going to do during your free time, Ryan?
I'm
Please
going
share.
to pay attention to the chat and answer questions. They may have mentioned stuff before, and either tell them how they're wrong or right about their.
I like it.
opinions.
All right, you do your homework.
Everybody
both
spam stupid judge questions, and
Yes.
we may or may not answer them.
We need you to give us more topics for the show. All right, we're going to go to commercial break now.
Good work.
Okay.
And I demand
and-
we play one of my commercials because I'll super listen to it. I promise.
Sure. Sounds fun.
Okay. AFK.
I actually had to say that. What is this, like the early 2000s?
My boss asked me the other day what AFK meant because I put it in a message saying I'll be AFK for this duration of time. He was like, "What?" I was like, "Away from keyboard."
Oh. So I see people talking about passive sensor SFs with missiles. Sure, but someone had specifically also mentioned passive sensor missiles with Hux. I think you're better off just doing literally only passive sensor gunner SFs, like 3 of them with Hux and a Starkiller based pilot. That should fit. And no need for missiles, just lock who you need to. And sweet moves, you can lock and rotate your arc off of the passive sensor lock. So Starkiller based moves, it gives you a coordinate, which is red action because it's Hux. You all take focuses on the SFs. You do a blue move, and then you take passive sensors. You'll have focus for defense if necessary, and take the lock with full knowledge where things are, and do them in the right order to where you can benefit if you need to turn your arc or change your thing. That's something that people haven't been noting enough with passive sensors, is if you're not using it for munitions, or even if you are using it for munitions, don't just say, hey, all my ships are passive censoring target locking this one thing, because if you kill that one thing, you want to be able to switch your targets if you can. Yeah, it's Zeta's Survivors, Special Forces Gunner, pop, pop. You have 10 points left. Zeta Squad Survivor, Starkiller with Hux. Can we make them Omega exports with Fanatical? Oh, I can only make 2 of them with Fanatical. That might still be worth it. Fanatical is good, by the way. Fanatical. All right. SF Gunners. I do like the idea of the 3 SF Gunners, Scorch and Longshot. I think that's cool. I dig it. Jacob. I think that's worth it. Why not? 5 3 attack dice ships. I like that. That's what I'm probably going to try with the Separatists. 3 Hyena Bombers and 2 Belba Labs. 1 Watt, 1 Grievous. 3 Bombers with Energy Shell Charge. 1 of them with Dork Probe Droids. So they all get... Every ship has a fully modded attack in the first engagement. Seems alright. Not sure if it's going to work. Doesn't have vultures, so it's probably better. Also, Greedo on Dengar, I don't think it's wrong, but I do think R5P8 is better for the points investment than R5 Astromech. Is R5 the... Hold on. Isn't R5 like the Hall regen, dude? Yeah, I don't use that. That's action dependent. You don't bring regen for action dependency. Crackshot Fen is fun in my go-to. Sure. Probably lines it up once. It's all you need, right? I mean, it can sometimes, like, I put Crackshot on Lulo to compensate for not taking target locks on him, because I normally focused and then boosted or rotated my arc. So I think it's worth just taking a Crackshot just to play the odds of dice and just say, this is going to take care of me not having a lock in most cases. Or if I didn't need the lock anyway, whatever. More damage. Morello. I don't know. I think like Morello, if he's good, if Morello's good in the game, that's bad for the game probably. He's hilarious. He's hilarious and fun when he's just overcosted by just enough. The problem is when he's actually good. Probably not good for the game. It's bad ideas. Only bad things can come of Morello being actually good. But I do highly recommend you look into a base Trandoshan Slaver with Lando crew because it can reinforce and then spend the green token because the reinforce is green to use Lando's rerolls. I think that's actually worth it. Vader Soon Tier 5th Brother Dutch is still amazing. Yes, it is. It also surprisingly has a ridiculous amount of a bid, even with all tooled up. And I think it needs to probably not be that easy to build.
Ryan, are you ready to sing? Are you a singer?
Depends.
Okay, well, I only need you for the stinger at the end. Okay?
What stinger?
You'll know it's coming. Don't disappoint me.
Oh God!
Don't disappoint me.
I don't put that on me.
You missed it. Tequila.
Yep.
There you go.
Tequila. I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember what the word was. I couldn't remember if it was margarita or tequila. Yes. So Vader Soon Tier Duchess can comfortably fit Fire Control System Afterburners Vader, Predator Shield Upgrade Soon Tier, and Crack Shot 5th Brother Shield Upgrade Duchess with 4-point bid. Seems good. Could even switch Crackshot to Predator, but I think Crackshot and Duchess is all you need because I'm expecting Duchess to not live long enough. Because it's one of the few things your opponent can catch and they'll just do it anyway. Why is Coach yelling Nami? I don't even think he's in here. Is he? All right. Where is it discussing, guys? Fanatical is amazing. I agree. Okay. What about Dooku Crew and Auto Blaster Cannon? Sure. But you're shooting 3 dice. So I get the trick of it. It's a guaranteed damage. I feel like there's better ways to get guaranteed damage in the game. Like
Chris,
bombs.
why are you bouncing around like an idiot?
Because I was mixing my margarita.
Why are you doing that now? That's amazing show content.
You missed the song.
What?
You missed the song.
So the question is, hold on. If you do it now, do you think Gordon's gonna respond correctly?
I'm not doing it again.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go get my second beer because you guys are back. You can entertain the audience.
Okay.
So I turned on my blender, and I started singing, and I told Ryan I needed him for the end of the song, and I only needed him for the end of the song. Don't disappoint me.
All
So
right.
I started singing the song Tequila, and I went through the whole thing, and I stopped the blender right at the time, and I went
Tequila.
There you go. Ryan did not get it.
Well, he's young. Did you? There was that bit that they did on America's Got Talent or whatever it is, and the guy, I don't know. There's so many of these now. This was the original one where they've got the guy that hates everybody. Is it America's Got Talent or is it? What was the original one? Do you know? These reality
American
shows.
Idol.
American Idol. Thank you. And who's the bad guy on American Idol?
British asshole. Whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So every time people come on there and try to do something, and it's going to involve like karaoke, then he's already in a disposition to hate it.
Right.
And the guy came up there and said, "I'm here to do karaoke," and everybody looks at him. And he does Tequila, and all he does in his karaoke part is just say Tequila, and he says it as deadpan as possible. And
Nice.
it was brilliant, and it worked really well. So take this to American Idol is basically what I'm telling you.
I'll take this to American Idol.
Simon, that's it. Coach is telling me it's Simon.
Simon Cowell.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Thank God for my painting paper towel, so my desk doesn't get obnoxiously sticky.
Oh, hang on a second. Aaron here says you wouldn't know show content if it hit you in the face. Who is he talking to?
I don't know. This is commercial break. There's not supposed to be content.
I know. Am I to think that Aaron is displeased with the show?
Maybe he should get on here and yell at us.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I went on to the Illuminati question submission thing, which I haven't checked in probably 4 months. So we've got like
What have you been doing for 4 months
50,
if you haven't
50
been...
questions to do?
Wait, I'm confused. You're part of the Judge Illuminati and you've checked out for 4 months?
No. We've been doing other questions. I've just ignored the question submission section. I'm
You've
too
been working
busy
with...
dealing with everything that Chris Allen asks.
Oh, okay. All right. He's a handful, is he?
Absolutely, but he is a necessity to that group.
Wait, hang on. During the commercial break here, Aaron is telling us to hold on. So I here I am in anticipation, waiting for his input.
Mm-hmm.
Please, Aaron, do tell us, what are we holding on for?
I used to have a teacher. You would tell him to hold on, and he would literally jump onto the blackboard and hold on to the blackboard.
Hold the blackboard. That's
yeah.
Right. Act out the yeah. The literal enactment of catchphrases and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think my favorite part about podcasting are the bits, if I must say so.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I feel like, as interesting as it is for us to discuss the topic at hand, the thing that motivates me is this: is there, kind of like the golf analogy, is there that one moment that made it stand out? And it's usually, for me, a comedy moment. If it's a personal moment or a relationship moment and something that moves me emotionally, that's great. I've had those as well. So I don't necessarily care what it is, but the low-hanging fruit is the comedy moment, right? Does it make me laugh? And if it makes me laugh, hopefully it's making...
Which is 90% of what this podcast is, let's be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If I wasn't amused by this, I wouldn't be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So what kind of whiskey are you drinking?
I'm not drinking whiskey, sir. I'm drinking bourbon. Okay, so I am drinking what is called Heaven Hill 6-year. Interesting tidbit. Heaven Hill Distilleries it's the main distiller behind famous labels such as Evan Williams or my favorite daily drink, which is Jesus Christ, Elijah Craig. Like, what's my cheap stuff that I like to have on a daily basis, as opposed to like $50 bottles. It's going to be an under $3 bottle. This is a $13 bottle of bourbon that has sat in the casket for 6 years, and you cannot buy it anywhere outside of Kentucky. You can only get it in Kentucky. And the thinking was, the legend behind it is that the guy, the owner, the whoever, he made this for the employees. In other words, here's a way for you to get good stuff at an insanely discounted price. So a lot of times it's recommended, if you want to get something that does not taste like $13 bourbon, it tastes like it's in the mid-20s, you would purchase Heaven Hill 6-year. So it's like my alternative daily sipper if I'm feeling cheap. Makes for a great gift when you travel out of state, because you basically say, hey, you couldn't get this elsewhere. And it didn't cost you a damn thing.
So I gotta point something.
Oh, you sound horrible. Dude, fix your internet. You're cutting in and out. What did you do?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Beep boop beep pop.
Yeah, exactly. Boop beep beep pop. Like you were the robot, and I feel like Stan Azuski, because we're all covering other people's roles tonight. Stan Azuski has sounded like Uncle Mart on his shitty internet connection this whole night. I don't know what the hell you were just.
Is this better now?
Yes,
You're
sir.
good.
Okay. Give me just a second.
Sounds like your CPU was pegged on your computer, whatever it was.
Okay, how about now?
You're good. Sound
Okay.
good.
I am not using voice meter anymore. Like it's been randomly failing on me lately.
That's weird.
So I have something I got to throw out there to people. There have been
Holy crap! There's 26 watching this right now.
Yeah.
Don't you people have something to do?
Yeah, watch us.
I will give them something to do right now because
Here we go.
I've had a lot of people saying that they're really excited about having their Four Roses single barrel.
I do not like it. I do not like it.
Well, now this is where I'm going to explain why all of you are wrong.
Okay.
Because if you explore, you will like it. And here's why. If you go and do a tour of Four Roses, you will learn that they are a whiskey place that takes all of these different kinds. Like they make a lot of different kinds of whiskey and they put them all together into one blend.
It's called an expression.
Sure. And it creates their signature flavor. When you do single barrel, you are getting one of those flavors.
You're at the mercy of it's variance. You don't know what you're going to get.
Unless you have the ability to decide which one you get, because they put it on the single barrel, which one you're getting.
When you walk into the store shelves and buy it off the store shelves, you're at the mercy of
a standard liquor store. You're at their mercy.
You're talking about actually going on the tour and then choosing what you like. Yes.
Or if you have a local place that gets excited and says, "We bought a barrel, come buy from us."
They've got the right, and you always want to support stores like that because they'll send someone and they'll do a bunch of samples.
Oh yeah,
and they'll come back with what really impressed them. Always pay for that. That's always worth doing.
Yeah. So if you find some place that's doing those different varieties of flavors, try them because there are some that are really good. I prefer the mash bill E because it has more corn and makes it sweeter. And then I go for the fruity kind of yeast strain. So you get that sweetness, a little bit of fruity, and it's delightful.
Four Roses is known for like really being resistant to doing much in the way of variety. In other words, they'll figure out a formula that they like that works, and then they'll release it. And if they're going to release it, it's because they intend to continue doing that. So like other distillers will say, and for this half year, we're doing this. And for this next half year, we're doing this. Not Four Roses. They're like, takes an act of Congress for them to come up with a new expression. They did just release one. It's called the Small Batch. God, what's it? God dang it! I'm gonna forget what it's called. It's Small Batch something or other. It's like it's almost like it's like the Small Batch single barrel, something like that. It's like a contradiction in terms. It's a $50 bottle. It is going to be part of their permanent line now, and it is amazing. Because I've never had a good single barrel that I bought off the shelf that I like, and I'm just tired of throwing money on a crapshoot. I'm not going to spend $30 to $40 and take the. That's why I hate single barrels, because it's either like gift from God or it's just dreck. There's a reason people come up with small batches, so you can It's almost like raising the floor and reducing the ceiling, but you get consistency. And I'd rather have predictability than waste money on a crapshoot. But this. Whatever this new expression is, that's about $50 a bottle. It is amazing. It is so good. I'm going to look up the name of it real quick.
So I'm on their website. They've got a 130th anniversary 2018 limited edition small batch.
It's called Small Batch Select.
Okay.
If you ever find on the shelf, because you know how the Four Roses I'm talking about looks like that kind of trapezoidal square kind of bottle. This looks different. This looks rounded. Looks like a heart, kind of. Yeah, look up Small Batch Select. I guarantee you will like it. If not, there's something seriously wrong with you. That is what bourbon should be. It is really, really good. I don't like having to spend that kind of money on it unless I'm guaranteed to get something really, really good. Because bourbon is it's insanely popular. It's never been more popular. Prices are going through the roof. This to me is like quality you can guarantee every time. It's really good.
Well, that's kind of what Bullet is for me. Like Bullet is just a solid, like whiskey that anytime I'm doing a Manhattan, it's either Bullet or Knob Creek. Those are cheap enough and good enough. Right, it fits right in that window.
And I'm not a fan of Knob Creek, but I can see why people like it. But yeah, it's. I'd rather. Have you ever had Colonel Taylor's?
No.
Yeah. Buffalo Trace. Have you had that?
Yes.
Okay. This is in other words, because Buffalo Trace does Blanton's, right? And for a while there, Blanton's was all the rage. And the past 2 bottles of Blanton's I've had has just been complete shit.
Oh, really?
Oh God, it's horrible. And then someone introduced me and says, "Well, yeah, if you haven't been having any good luck with Blanton's, try Colonel Taylor's. Their other stuff. They also do the same thing. They know where in the warehouse the effects that location and temperatures have on certain barrels, and then they say, yes, this will be our Blanton stuff. This will be our Colonel Taylor stuff.
Right.
Colonel Taylor's for me is what Blanton's is to everybody else. Really good. You can't find it anywhere, so the prices go through the freaking roof.
Hey, Tim, can you double check and see if your YouTube is either unmuted or if you are using computer speakers?
Well, I think he's on his phone.
I'm on my cell.
Oh.
Yeah, so the speakers are coming back through.
Oh shit, I'm on my cell phone. I just realized that. Sorry, guys.
Well, it's subtle, but just noticeable.
Let me just swap over to Bluetooth. They were just playing up.
Do I still sound okay to you? Rob in the chat is saying I'm sounding.
No, while you were talking, it was coming out of Tim's speakers back into.
Run away!
Oh God!
Run away, Tim! Run away!
Okay, don't you have kids to go raise or something, Aaron?
Run
Who let him in?
away!
You think this was his